Well, welcome everybody. This is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. This is Raging Verbalist number 82. 82, yeah. And just glad that you're here. If you've never been here before, welcome. A couple of things, annoying things, how about like and subscribe and share and, go gather the kids around. Well, I don't know. I swear, so don't gather the kids around. Anyway, so we talk about a variety of topics and of course, there has to be somebody to ask these questions, these vital questions, to pose them. And that is, of course, the lovely Sandra. Sandra, welcome.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. I mean, this is a great time. We are seeing liberation. It's not quite like, the boys who landed years ago in Normandy liberating France, but it's kind of close to that. So at least for me. All right. So what is our topic for today?
All right. We could say it's freedom technically.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
There you go. All right. So I understand that as of June 15th, there were some changes in California. So can you talk about that?
Well, the long, dark, cold winter is over. State of California, and we've talked about this before because this is welcome to COVID California. And they finally loosen the cinch a little bit on everybody's neck and opening things up. In fact, we have proof of life, just like if you were being held hostage, we have proof of life. The Wall Street Journal shows that people went to Universal Studios. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. By the way, I'm not affiliated with the Wall Street Journal in any way, shape, or form. But if you, in fact, put in fact subscription, I'd be want to get it, because I always love when they have the guy talking like 90 million miles an hour, telling you that if you lease that car, you're going to be in big trouble. So anyway, so some things have happened, which means that we can now rip off our masks, and as long as we're vaccinated, we can go do that. So there's openings of restaurants, openings of other things. Now, for those of you who are in other parts of California who say that this was already open, I just have a compound word, bullshit. I'll say it slower, bullshit, because I can tell you that even though things were supposedly opening up, not even close, not compared to when I was in Colorado in March, New York City, right outside of LaGuardia. I mean, a little more opened up. And but Texas was yeehaw, Texas. It was opened up. So California, we finally got a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a change. Now, if you read the California COVID-19 website, because I did that for you, our loyal viewers on Facebook and YouTube, I put myself through that. Obviously written by a three-headed Hydra monster. One head is political correctness. Number two is trying to deliver some level of scientific information. And number three is a whole big bunch of rules about this. So when they say open up in California, you ought to understand it's a little bit like having, just a wild time in good old East Germany. Yeah, you can have it, but understand there's lots of rules. So if I went to a company that I walked through the door and I was there at a restaurant and they permitted it, as long as I could prove I was vaccinated, I don't have to wear a mask. However, if I don't wear a mask and I don't have proof, it's implied I'm making a statement, because I'm not wearing a mask, that I am vaccinated. But if I'm not vaccinated and I'm putting on this ruse that I am vaccinated and not wearing a mask, I could be subject to penalties and fines and all the rest of that. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. We don't have that much time. I mean, I'm just talking about just on my whole life. I don't have enough time to go through all the myriad bunch of stuff, because usually I would think that when you open it up, you say, okay, get rid of all that. So that is what has happened on June the 15th. And, just last week I was, on the road in San Diego, and I can tell you it is more open than it was just a little bit ago. So maybe we'll have it break down and open up, but who knows? Because of course, I went to, it's just, people still don't understand what's going on. So there you go. Hopefully Raging Verbalist is pushing back the darkness and giving a clear, muddy answer like the state of California has in front of us. Okay, next question.
Yeah. So, how does this differ from your other experiences?
So here's how here's probably the most amazing thing is that in California, even though they've talked about doing this all for our own good, remember, I waited in line outside of Costco. They limited the number of people who could go in. They did all of those things. We would wait outside, like we were in a third world country. So how it's different is that when I went to Colorado months ago, and I actually went with my brother to a brunch. They actually, though we were socially distanced, let us eat indoors and not outdoors, which was kind of nice because it was starting to snow. It would have been great. Give me the Denver omelet and a little bit of frostbite. So didn't have that. So that was interesting. But now, many months later, and I mean many months later, California just starting to open up. And probably the funniest one is when I went to New York, and I was there in New York, and we went to a diner just outside of LaGuardia. I mean, and this is like just a very much a New York diner, is that everybody who came in had to sign up so that way we could do, contact tracing just in case, some outbreak of COVID happened. And there were big giant sheets of plastic between the empty table next to you and then another table over there. So right now, just starting to find out what it's like. Went into a, after the unmasking day. And I went into a Barnes and Noble, which of course I'm in a 12-step program about books. And I went in and I actually was able to sit down in the Starbucks there. And but there was only one consequence, is that they had torn off all of the temporary signs that they glued to it. So every single table was as sticky as like the floor in a very nasty bars that I used to go to. Yeah. And of course they have no idea how to clean this residue off. So anyway, I told them, you need to get that goop off stuff or something. So big difference. And we'll see what's going to happen. And if this really opens up, who knows? Maybe we'll even go to movies like normal again.
All right. So with that, what are some of the incentives for people to get vaccinated in California?
Well, we've got some good ones. First off, we're running a lottery to try to get people, that their vaccinations. So if you get your vaccination, so I'm thinking about going and getting mine again. Though I have to admit, California still has rules that I have not seen other places. As an example, I was in a store, a CVS actually, and again, I have no affiliation with CVS. But I was in CVS and they had a big thing that said, vaccines here. And I said, well, how do I get one? And the woman said, no, by the way, there was no line. And that is part of the problem. So in the US, even though we now have lots of supply, we're running out of people who are willing to get a vaccine. And that's kind of too bad, because the vaccine will actually help things out, I believe. But there's a lot of people who don't want to get them. There's lots of great reasons for getting them. I don't see a lot of reasons for not getting them, but that's up to you, because this is a free country. Damn it, and why not? So anyway, so they're doing a lottery, but the woman told me that I couldn't just get a shot right then and there. I had to go to the website and log in and sign in, which I think is, of course, part of the barrier to getting people vaccinated. Also, good news is that there are some strip clubs that if you bring in your vaccine card, there's no cover charge. And I understand that all of those places are opening back up. And of course, just like if you've ever seen those little commercials or you get it in the mail where they have, they show the poor young child sitting in some Latin American country, holding an empty cup with some sad face, and you help feed them. Is that I actually started getting those from Save a Stripper. And so my wife and I sponsor a couple of strippers, Bambi, Tammy, and Candy. And all I can say is, I mean, can't wait for you to get back on the pole, and hope that's going to happen soon. Because I mean, everyone needs to know that now. While they're opening things up, that means that it's even more important for your summer reading, for your enjoyment, for what you're going to need, is that you need to think about grabbing yourself a great book. And if you haven't done this yet, well, I have a treat for you, because you need to learn how to position yourself over the noise. The V-shaped recovery is going to be a wild ride. Who knows what's going to happen in this world? But I can tell you that the most important thing that you can do is to position yourself over the noise. And we have two wonderful books that you can go pick up. One of them is Most Businesses Fail in their First 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to Win, available at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, and also available in every digital format that we've been able to figure out: Apple, Kindle, Nook. And then we also have the Remote Work for a Better World, which is all about surviving this pandemic and being in really good shape. You can go to positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com. Check it out. There's a bunch of whole cool free things for you cheapies, and go make that happen. You can also join our Facebook group, in which if you have something that you want me to talk about as a Raging Verbalist, I have an opinion about just about everything, including an opinion if you don't actually want to send in something. But you go to the Facebook group, Position to Win Book, and Sandra will pick that up, and be nice. So there you go. Sandra, what is the next question?
Yeah, so as we were working on this, you said you were a little nervous about this video getting banned. So why is that?
Well, on YouTube, my understanding is that if you say certain things about a certain rock group, that you will get banned, because even though these are the guys who sang Take It Easy, they surely don't take it easy, because they remind me more of the kind of guys that I used to know who collected money off of people from the street. So because it's COVID California, and you have to hum the song inside of your head, people. And of course, welcome to COVID California. What a lovely place. It's as far as I can go, because I mean, we never know. And of course, speaking so bluntly about COVID and all of that, if you do not know the story, we did one a while ago, which is the fact that Jeff Bezos and Amazon banned the very first iteration of the remote workbook, because of course we came up with a very clever title. It's one thing to be somebody who's a good person at doing messaging, and we came up with a good title, and guess what happened? Well, they said no. They said, you can't have that. You can't do that, because of course they banned it. They said, nope, you can't do. And I don't see if I have this one, doggone it, dang gummit. But what it is that we had survived the quarantine, and the words quarantine were not allowed. So I right now I'm saying it. I'm out there. I'm saying quarantine. But I didn't say that other rock group for fear of retribution, because they're out there with their own Take It Easy, Tequila Sunrise. If you haven't figured out who they are, they're a bird of prey. So I hope we don't get banned. I hope we don't get banned. I hope we don't get a cease and desist order that says, wait a second, too many references to us. You're trying to pimp off of our name. Dag nabbit. So yes, so that's it. That was it, and who knows in this crazy, crazy world. So by the way, I have a cure for all you really hypersensitive people. Here's the cure. Wait until the economy goes into the shitter and all of this peripheral stuff, when you have to think about how you're going to like make it to the next day and the next meal. Yeah. You'll realize that all of this other stuff is superficial bullshit. Okay. What's the next thing? What else do we have?
All right. So does it actually appear like things are now all opened up?
Well, it does and it doesn't, because I can tell you, first off, there's a lot of small businesses that went broke. We say it takes 3 to 5 years to find out, and also a pandemic to kill you. So a lot of businesses have gone by the wayside. Also, because they don't know what the rules really are. And if you read it from the California website, lots of luck figuring it out. California is a very punitive state. So I think that there's going to be a really big lag to it. And of course, I was walking around without a mask, and I've had people giving me like scrunched up looks. I always want to go over and breathe on them like a wino on a bender. Hi, how you doing? Get a COVID. I always want to just do that to people because they're just freaking out. And by the way, for all of you who were acid bleaching or putting ammonia on your bananas, all I can tell you is that I don't think the transmission of the disease on a banana skin was highly likely. I'm not a scientist, but I'm willing to take a shot. Now, I don't trust some other vegetables, and I won't say the name of it because, of course, I have too much respect for Sandra, but there's some other vegetables I'm not quite sure of. But all of you people who are doing crazy things, I had literally new people who, when they would get their mail, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's this little thing that shows up in a box delivered by somebody in a little Jeep. Anyway, is that they would leave it outside in a decontamination thing to see if the half-life of the coronavirus would work. And I actually know somebody who bought a UV light that they would pass over all of their material to make sure that they were not going to get COVID. There was no irony to the story. I mean, it's ironic because actually I had several people who got COVID who are super careful. So I'm not saying that you should have been brazenly crazy, but I can tell you that, by the time you start now getting to where you're sanitizing everything, it's going to get over the top. So I think it's opening up. I will see in just a few days how much it opens up and how much it gets back to normal. And all I can say is that in the Barnes and Noble, I was one of maybe 2 or 3 other people who didn't have their mask on. And I had a woman with her 2 kids, and they were pointing at me. Now, I thought it was because, of course, of this YouTube channel. They had seen me. They were in my greatness and felt my aura emanate out. But they were actually pointing out that I was not wearing a mask. And of course, I looked at them and said, mask free. And they were like, oh boy, get behind mom. This guy could get crazy. So we'll see how much it opens up. All right, Sandra, we have time, I think, for one last question. Maybe one last question.
All right. So speaking of all of the crazy, how do you keep track of all of it that goes on?
Well, I actually have, it's funny because I actually have a business partner who reads all of I don't know if you can read all of it, but he actually gets all the feeds from around the world. So if you want to know that Manitoba has an outbreak, Manitoba, for those of you who don't know, is a province of Canada. Canada doesn't have states. They want to be too highfalutin. They have a province instead of a state. Anyway, that is like a firestorm of it. Or if you want to find out how many people in Mozambique have gotten the percentages, he's my go-to guy. I can call him up, and he's got dashboards of this stuff. Now, by the way, he was one of the early person to get, the shots and all that stuff, but he is just interested in the science of it. So that's how I do that. And then he and I, we have a little side bet. So for all of you, here's my side bet. when this whole thing was really percolating along, California said, and they had a very detailed, this is how crazy it is, they had a very detailed process by which we were all going to get vaccinated. And you had to figure out which group you were in and what color coding you were in and all of that. Now, having said all of that, if they actually lived up to this stringent hierarchy, I guess I could live with it. However, here's the story. My wife has a heart condition. Her cardiologist said it would be a good idea to get her vaccine. She should have been on the first list. And I know that certain students at Caltech got, at 27 years old, got the vaccine before she did. Now, geez, California, riddle me this. How does that actually work? So to keep track of all that stuff, and here's the side bet that I have, is that I've registered her with 3 different databases, and I'm registered with 2 different databases. And she and I have both been vaccinated for quite some time. And the bet is, when will California ever contact me? Now, I know that technology is new. I know that California is very backwatered about technology. They have no idea who they would turn to, because of course they don't understand that. So all I can say is we'll see if I ever get contacted by the state of California, because I dutifully put in my information and they said, be patient and wait, and they will contact me. Yikes. And I've never heard a damn thing from them. Now, I have to tell you that I have always been amazed walking around in California or driving around. And here's my favorite ones, Sandra, is that people driving in their own car. Now, if you've never been to Southern California, we score in the top 1, 2, or 3 worst traffic ever anywhere. And if you say, oh, I've got bad traffic, come to LA, come to Southern California. We have traffic that never ends. In fact, I think we have people who just are hired to just go out. Hey, go out there and drive slow, screw up traffic. And my favorite is, and that means that everybody drives with their windows up and their air conditioner on. And my favorite is watching people. Saw it just yesterday. I mean, the mask ban is off, and this woman was driving in her car, and she had the mask on and all the windows up. And I just shake my head. I mean, is she afraid that it's gonna jump off of the steering wheel? Maybe an errant banana in the back seat will have COVID, which will work its way forward. Is there a rutabaker or something? I mean, what is it? And all I can tell you is that people do all kinds of crazy things. So I'm going to finish up by saying this. I am happy that they have finally started to open this up. I am distressed that they are not working hard enough, and their messaging sucks. By the way, if any of you are out there of the bureaucratic ilk, your messaging sucks, because what it isn't doing is it isn't getting people to come along. And here's the sad news. I was standing in line yesterday. Again, there's lines for stuff in California because there's shortages and there's gaps, and we're still doing social distancing stuff, which is supposedly gone. And this woman told me that she was senior, that she did not get the vaccine because she couldn't get it through her doctor, and she's a little skeptical about other ways to get it. And she asked her doctor, and early on, and I know that this isn't just California, so those of you want to say, John, it's not just California, but California has been very, very stern about this. Why you would not employ the people, the doctors, their nurses, the staff of everybody's physician to try to convince you, cajole you, talk you into it, get you to take the vaccine. Because as she said, my doctor said he didn't have enough information. Why they didn't get all those doctors involved in it, I still do not know. I will not agree that that was a good idea. And I still believe that if we're going to get this thing figured out, because it's not like we're done. It's not like you're never going to see this happen again. But hopefully we're going to get smarter, but it doesn't appear to be. I mean, we have a lot of dim-witted people here. So that's one side of it. The final piece is I'm mask-free. I'm wheeling outside of a supermarket. First time without a mask. I'm feeling good. This woman, as she starts to cross the threshold and she makes contact, and she is in the process of putting on a mask. And I said, she goes, "You don't have a mask." And I said, "Because on the 15th of June, Liberation Day, Paris has been liberated. The Allies have returned. Praise de Gaulle. We're now mask free." And she put up her hands and did a big whoop, whoop, whoop. And all I can tell you is that tells you how crazy things have gotten. And with that, I'm going to say, if you like the content, you like the stuff, hey, go check it out. Go to positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com. And let me just say, I hope that you are safe. I hope you're successful. I hope you're healthy. And more importantly, I hope the bureaucrats, well, get their head out of the you-know-where to get us all back doing what we need to do. This is John Paul Mendoza, the Raging Verbalist, and we are now out.